Hi, today we're going to be talking about honouring our cycles, embracing our inner and outer seasons. So have you ever found yourself knee-deep in period-induced chaos, wondering how everyone else seems to have it together while you're scrambling around to find your child's dance shoes? Trust me, I've been there. And this week we're talking about cycles, menstrual, seasonal and lunar, and how they impact us as women juggling so many of life's roles. Stick around for a funny, slightly embarrassing story about how I learned to embrace the mess instead of fighting it this week. Welcome to The Secrets in the Powder Room, where we share stories and open up conversations about all the secrets women are forced to keep out of fear and shame. I'm Louise Bryant, professional certified coach, intuitive eating counsellor and trauma-informed domestic abuse specialist and survivor. We're here to support you on your healing journey and help you feel like you're not alone. This is not to be a replacement of your own professional, medical or legal advice. This podcast contains adult language and content. Listener discretion is advised. So let me try and paint a bit of a picture of my week last week. We've had sickness bugs. On Monday, I forgot my children's guitars. On Tuesday, I forgot to send my son in with his football kit. On Wednesday, when I picked the children up, I forgot my son's gym clothes for team gym and his snacks. Then on Thursday, I forgot my son's Crocs, my daughter's shoes for dancing, and my son's PJs for after swimming. And by Friday, my husband took over everything, naturally doing it all perfect, of course. And on top of that all, my car failed its MOT and I need to have surgery, more surgery, number 7 surgery on my thumb. That was last week. This week, more sickness in the house. The children are off school with bugs. And I lost the recording for this podcast. I'd already recorded it, struggled to record it because of my cycle. And for any of you that know me, who've worked with me on any of my courses, my domestic abuse course or my food and body freedom course, know that when I have my cycle, my brain and my mouth, when trying to read things out, do not work in sync with each other. So for me to record my intro and outro, which I read, was extremely difficult for me while I had my cycle and trying to record the podcast. So I was gutted when I couldn't find it. I went to finish the edits today and it's gone. So that sums up my week. So as I mentioned, so much of this chaos is aligned with where I am in my menstrual cycle. And I wasn't honouring my need to slow down or give myself the grace. And as women, we have these beautiful cycles going on within us, much like the seasons of the year. So we have our inner spring season, the follicular season, and that's a time for renewed energy and growth. We have the summer season, which is our ovulation season. And this is where we feel at our most vibrant and social. And this is when is my peak time for anything to do with my business or anything that I need to do. I'm, smashing it in the gym. I'm smashing it with work. I'm just productive. That's when I should have all my podcast interviews booked in and I should be batching all the juicy stuff because that's when we are at our most productive. And then we have the autumn season, which is the luteal phase. And that's a time for us to slow down and tighten up any loose ends. And then last of all, we have the winter, the menstrual phase, where rest and reflection are essential. As I've learned the hard way this week, I so try to work my business around my seasons and how I'm feeling. But I quite often forget. I've been so productive from January, getting stuff done, that it just completely floored me this last week of January to how I'm feeling. And it's a self lesson. And not only is it the winter season going on inside me right now, it's also the winter season for all of us outside. So really, truly trying to honour this and slowing down and still having to get a podcast out has been quite a challenge. And then, I'm no expert on the moons, but at the moment, I think we're having the lunar phase, the new moon. For some people, the full moon can really affect how we're feeling as well. So if you've got the new moon that's happening now, there's a push and pull kind of cycle. As I said, I'm not an expert on the moons. I will have a lovely juicy podcast on that with an expert very soon. So let's just have a quick chat about social media versus reality. Remember that social media often paints this picture of women who have it all together. And I'm sure a lot of my Instagram posts look like I may have it all together, but I don't. And I want to remind you that behind the highlights, the reels, are real people, real struggles and real stories. And that's why I started The Secrets in the Powder Room, to share the truths that we often keep hidden out of fear and shame, because you're not alone in all of this mess. We're all struggling at times, and let's keep it real. And to top it all off, I've got my children off school at the moment, sick. And if you could just hear me just now, I literally jumped out of my skin because I am trying to record this podcast and my daughter snuck into the room behind me. And as I've turned around, I literally jumped out of my skin. But as women, we're left to juggle all of these things. We have to deal with children. A lot of us, I'm a mumpreneur trying to work from home, with children off school sick, with my period, getting over a bug myself. And it's just one thing after another. But we're doing it. We're turning up. We're showing up for ourselves and we're doing it. So speaking of trying to do all the things, I am currently running a food and body freedom course with a group of women, and at the moment the enrolment for that is closed. So in the course I created another meditation called Reclaiming Your Body Visualization Meditation, and I would like to offer that to you for free, and you can download that in the show notes. So make sure you go ahead and do that if you're feeling any disconnect from your body at all. It's very much for the people in the food and body freedom course, but it's a great start if you're finding that you are interested or curious about intuitive eating, body positivity, emotional eating, the health for every size movement. Definitely go and check out that meditation and sign up for my email so that I can support you in your inbox, offering you lots of free resources and opportunities to work with me. And if you are ready to truly transform your relationship with your food and body, you can sign up for coaching programs now. So now, just before we wrap up, I've got a little ask for you. And if you're an expert in anything that I talk about here, whether it's food and body image, trauma recovery, lunar moon cycles, periods, and you have a trauma-informed approach and a weight-neutral, anti-diet perspective, I'd love to have you as a guest on the podcast. So again, the links are all in the bio and the descriptions of these podcasts for you to sign up. Or maybe you've got a story to share, whether it's anonymously for the podcast, my book, or both, about the secrets that you've kept out of fear and shame. They can be anything. We've had lots of stories ranging from domestic abuse, body positivity, we and yourself, facial hair, sexual abuse, and everything in between. So if that's you, please reach out. Sharing your story can inspire others and remind them that they're not alone. So here are a few journaling questions for you to consider as you reflect on your cycles and seasons. What season of your inner cycle do you feel like you're most in right now? Is it the spring, the renewal, the summer, the growth, the autumn, release, or winter, rest? How can you show yourself kindness and compassion when your energy is low or emotions feel overwhelming? And what self-care practices help you feel supported during the more challenging phases of your inner and outer seasons? And for even more journaling question prompts, to dive a little bit deeper into this, you can visit the podcast blog. I always put journaling questions in the podcast blog about the podcast that you've just listened to. So always go and check that out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Secrets in the Powder Room podcast with me, Louise Bryant. That's it from me today. Thank you for letting me share this unfiltered period, hormone, lunar moon, New Year fueled episode, and remembering that honouring your body and your energy isn't a weakness. It's one of our most powerful things and one of the most powerful things that you can do. And if this episode made you laugh, cry, or feel seen, please share it with your friends or leave a review. It really helps spread the word. And don't forget to check out the links in the description for the goodies, coaching opportunities, and ways to share your story. Until next time, take care of yourself, rest when you need to, and remember, you are enough. exactly as you are.